The Appropriations Committee in many ways is really the most important committee in Congress. If it doesn't get its work done, frankly, the government shuts down. Labor, Health and Human Services, and Education is usually the most controversial committee, and frankly the most challenging one from a Republican standpoint. And for the 6 years before I became chairman, we weren't able to report the bill out of committee. In other words, you couldn't go to the floor even if you wanted to because the bill hadn't been written. We've now gotten that bill done 4 times in a row, out of committee with essentially unanimous Republican support each time. And we've been able, working with our colleagues, to get the bill across the floor. It takes a lot of teamwork, and that all takes a lot of politics and coalition building. And I think I can bring that to the job. But you have to have a goal. When you're spending $177 billion, and frankly you're spending more money than you asked for, because we tried to cut the budget by $5 billion. The administration negotiated a bill that increased it by 16. That puts an extra burden on you to make sure that that money moves to where Republicans would want it to go. If you can't make the cuts, and sometimes you can't because you've got to have Democratic votes in the Senate and sometimes, sadly, even in the House, you at least want to make sure the money follows Republican priorities. You've got to be there. You've got to be there by example and with your vote. And frankly, you owe it to the leadership of the party to try and persuade your other colleagues, both on your committee and those that you have influence with that aren't on your committee, to do the same. Appropriations is always incremental and cumulative in moving towards something. But if you don't announce what your goals are, then you don't have any way to measure your progress and for the members to know what they've achieved. We've set clear goals in my subcommittee, and we've achieved those goals, and members know to take credit for it. That needs to happen in every single one of the Appro subcommittees. And frankly, you equip every individual member to go out and campaign on those goals and take credit for them because their votes were indispensable in achieving them. So it can be an incredibly valuable political tool, as well as it's the best way to run the government. We have, in my subcommittee, over 12,700 member requests. We were able to do at least something on about 90% of those. So we've got to do a better job on the Appropriations Committee, quite frankly, of reaching out to members. We need a much more aggressive member services department that, number one, tracks all these requests, which we do, but keeps the member informed about where we are in the process. And frankly, lets them know at the end, this is what's in the bill that reflects the request that you made. Or if not that, at least an explanation as to, okay, here's why we couldn't do that. First, you've got to educate the members as to how to actually use the appropriations process. Second thing you can do beyond working with the members individually is you've got to have clear goals. And then, frankly, the committee needs to understand that. And I don't think we've done a good job on our committee at setting out individual goals and then making the conference aware that we've achieved them so they can go home and take credit for them. The American people didn't elect us to just let things shut down. They elected us to get some big things done. And we need to lay out with them and with our conference what those big things are, and then be in a position to argue it, take credit for it. I've been able to do that with my subcommittee. I think I can do that for the entire committee.